Did you watch the last episode of the season 6 on your own television? And how did you feel when you saw your head off?
Who's happening? Oh, that's me. There's a mass exodus. Did I watch the last episode on my own television? I did, actually. Where was I? I had just gotten back to LA, and I hadn't seen some of the end of the season because we were so busy and I was shooting the new show too. So when I finally did get a chance to watch the last couple episodes, I was at home. I thought the finale was great too. It was so fun. And very, very disturbing too, very upsetting. Like the way that the second to last episode ends and everything. Everyone's seen it, right? I'm not... Yeah, good. Me too. Hello. And then the second part of your question, ma'am?
How did you feel when you saw your head off?
Well, we actually did that. You know, they actually, you know, my head. It was sort of bizarre to see that, because I don't think anyone ever imagines getting to see that happen to themselves. So it was kind of fun, and it was really out of the blue. I don't know if I mean, I knew it happened, and I was still shocked, just the way that it happens. It was very surprising and kind of in the middle of nothing happening, which was the point, for it to be completely a shock. But yeah, it was fun though. I liked it. I laughed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, okay.
Hello.
You already answered the question about the new show, and I want to know when it's going to start.
What was your question about the new show?
Yeah, you already answered
Oh, I did?
that you're going to appear in a new show called
Yes.
The Containment.
Yeah.
That was my original question, but...
Well, now we're going to answer your new question.
When it's going to start.
So the new show, we start shooting, the writers start working on the scripts next week. And we start shooting in August. And then the season will be done shooting, I think, entirely before it airs. Because what's going to happen is it's going to air in January or February, I think. We haven't gotten this exact date, so don't quote me on that. But when they start airing, it's not going to be like Vampire Diaries where we air a few, and then there's a big break and you have to sort of sit around and cry because there's not a new episode. It's going to air straight through the whole season. So that'll be nice. Once it starts, it's just going to keep going. So yeah, beginning of next year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
What do you like about Kai, and what would you change about him?
From an acting standpoint, I love how, oh dear, what did I do? Is someone giving me bunny ears or something? I love how evil he is, you know, from an acting perspective and also from just a show perspective. And like I said, I love his sense of humor, even though it's dark and twisted. In a lot of ways, that's one of our favorite parts about the show. And I'm sure it's one of the reasons you guys like it too. It's just living in that sort of dark fantasy world where the vampires are still sometimes the good guys, and even when, you know, Damon also kills a pregnant woman and also like rips heads off for years, he still comes back to be the love interest in the show. There's something really unique and exciting about that. So that, I love that part about Kai, just the balance between being totally horrible and being so entertaining at the same time. And what would I change about Kai is the second part?
Yes.
I might be like, hey dude, maybe like chill out a little bit and people won't want to kill you at all times. Like they might let you live or exist in the world, but because he's constantly so horrible, there's really no one had a choice but to, you know, get rid of him. Especially once he became like a witch vampire hybrid, super powerful, crazy character. That's sort of dangerous to have that. But yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
My question is, who is your favorite character in The Vampire Diaries?
My
And why?
My favorite. You want to know why too? Oh,
Yes.
this is pressure now. To have a good answer. My favorite character. Gosh, it's so hard. I love so many of them. I think. Wow. I feel like every time I talk about this, my answer changes. I might say Enzo. Just because I don't know, I like the villains. I really like the bad guys. And I also find him so funny in a similar but totally different, very dry, sarcastic kind of way. And his voice is all pretty. You know, he's like, "Hello, gorgeous." Love it. So probably Enzo.
Thank you.
Who's your favorite character? You're supposed to say Guy.
Guy.
X. A very good answer. Very good answer. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
My question is, why you decide to do the audition for the Vampire Diaries?
Why did I decide to do it? Wow. When I was first sent the description of the role, when they were interested in me for it, it also came with a monologue that they had written that isn't in the show. It's not a real thing that exists, but it was a monologue about him. It was him talking about killing his whole family and putting their bodies in a car and then pushing it off of a bridge. And it was really dark, but it was also really funny in strange places. And seeing that they wanted someone who was so awful, but also, you know, sort of really young physically, but then mentally he's a little bit crazy, and he's also older because, you know, he was actually 40, even though he looked 22, because he was trapped for 18 years or whatever. So that is just all very unusual. Just what the character was described as was very attractive to me. And so knowing that, and knowing that he was just going to be in season 6, sort of killing everybody and creating havoc on the show, it just sounded like the perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why. Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is, were you a fan of the Vampire Diaries before working it?
I actually hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen the show. I had friends who watched it religiously, and so obviously when I found out I was doing it, they're like, "Okay, come over, we're gonna watch the show. I'm gonna tell you what's happening. I'm gonna tell you who these people are." And I got very excited, but no, I hadn't seen it. And then I became a fan in the process because I watched a lot of the show before we started, so I could get, you know, the tone and know the characters and understand the world. And then I went back once we were shooting and started at season 1 and watched some of those episodes. And I became a fan because the show's great. Yeah, especially my favorite stuff is the stuff in the beginning of the series when it's very much about the humans being introduced to the fantastic elements of life, like the supernatural beings being a part, like when Elena was a human and all of that. That's so interesting, and it was very scary. So I understand why people are fans of the show, because I am too now. So yeah. Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
Is there a moment on set you will always remember?
I don't remember any of it. Oh gosh, yeah, there's so many. Moment. That's a good question. A very specific moment that I remember. I remember there were a couple moments early on when, because when you start a new character on a show, especially one that's as popular as The Vampire Diaries is, and as even 6 years in, there's a lot going on, and to introduce an important character at that point, you can sort of feel the pressure of that, because they want to get it right too, you know, they don't want to bring somebody in and then the role doesn't work out the way that they thought it was going to. But when you're there doing it, you try to forget all of that and you try to just focus on doing the best job you can. I remember it was somewhere in the second episode, it might have been, there's a scene where we're walking outside the Salvatore house, and Bonnie sort of figures out that the article she was reading in the paper about someone killing their entire family was actually him, was Malachi. I hardly ever say his whole name, that was weird. Malachi, it's kind of cool. But I remember shooting that scene, and there was a moment when the character started to click for me. Because when you first get in there, it's so fast that you're sort of figuring out who your character is as you're going. And you get each script one at a time, so you don't really know. I mean, I knew the sort of general idea of where the character was going to go, but you don't know specifics. So you get the script and you're figuring out who you are as you're shooting. And so you may think, oh, I'm this, and then next episode you get a script that completely undermines that and changes everything about the character. So you sort of have to, you know, be ready to wing it any given day if they change things. So I remember in the second episode in that scene, it was right when the character started to make sense to me. And I sort of I found like this happy place that he lives, which is sort of like a vacant thing behind his eyes, and he's thinking things that he's not sharing with you, while he's also putting on this performance, making you think that you can trust him. And all of the things just started to make sense, and that was when I finally figured out who he was. Because all the stuff before that, like, it's still him, you know, but I was still trying to decide how I was going to play this character, and there was a moment when it clicked. And that's a really exciting moment, when you feel like you've figured out who you're playing. So I'm going to say that.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.